Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Planning and Scheduling Professional PSB course. We are still here in section 1.1 Planning, Development, Input, and Data. In the last video, we discussed the second input in this section, which was the identification of stakeholders. And in this video, we are going to review and discuss the third and the last input to the planning development process, which is constructability methods. First of all, as usual, let's go through the definition of constructability. Constructability, as stated there in Skill and Knowledge and PSB Study Guide, the optimum use of construction knowledge and experience in planning, engineering, procurement, and field operations to achieve the overall project objectives. Here, we also have constructability analysis. Constructability analysis would be determining the most effective and efficient method to construct the facility, and it is performed early in the planning stage or in the planning phase to allow alternatives to be considered and incorporated into the project design. All right, we can summarize the main idea here in constructability or in the constructability analysis in two steps. The first step is to determine whether what has been designed is reasonably buildable, to determine what has been designed will be applicable or not. Will it be built in a reasonable way or not? A reasonable way means it will not cost that much in terms of the project business case or feasibility study. Also, a reasonable way means, in addition to cost and time considerations, means it will be buildable in terms of the coordination between the project systems and activities, between structural elements and mechanical system and electrical system, plumbing system as well. So in constructability analysis, we make like a design evaluation to ensure the design itself will be buildable. And this is why the constructability analysis effort should be performed early during the planning development stage to ensure that the project itself can be built or the scope of work will be buildable. The second step, after we reach a result that the project will be applicable, the second step is to determine the most appropriate way or method that will be used in construction or in the project execution. This is why it is called constructability methods. And also one of the key tools here in constructability analysis is BIM, Building Information Modeling. BIM is being used not only to achieve constructability goals, but also to reduce project delivery time as well. This is why constructability analysis is always connected or concerned with technology. We use BIM and the other types of technology tools to carry out the constructability analysis. So a part of the constructability analysis is also determining and evaluating or selecting the most appropriate method that we use to execute the project, perhaps by using technology like BIM, building information modeling, or by using special equipment or special materials, or even by using the lessons learned from the previous experience. So in constructability or in the constructability analysis, we determine if the design is buildable. Then we determine the most appropriate method that will be used in order to execute the project itself. And it is performed early in the planning development stage and continues throughout the entire project life cycle. That's why the constructability analysis is considered as a main input to the planning development stage or planning development process. The last thing I would like to say here, same as constructability, is manufacturability. constructability and manufacturability to have the same concept. Constructability analysis used in construction and manufacturability used in manufacturing. So both terms or both analyses are conducted in order to determine the method of execution or method of implementation. After we discussed the constructability and constructability analysis, there are some other terms that used to serve the same concept or the same purpose. One of these is construction pre-planning. Constructability and construction pre-planning are very similar. Both of them are intended to reduce time and cost by considering alternative design or installation methods. But the difference between construction pre-planning and constructability is most often connected or concerned with the technology, connected with the method of installation. Construction pre-planning deals with the scheduling of resources, organization, and site access. Construction pre-planning also is when you plan to get the best value of the project resources. This by making like a good resource allocation plan. The good planning of resources to minimize the project cost or select the effective construction method, or let's say that coordination effort before we start construction to get everything ready, to get like a clear vision of the work methodology and sequence and all of these things. These are examples of construction pre-planning. Constructability analysis is when analyzing the construction method itself, in which engineering method we are going to build or install a facility or an item in the project. Here we can say typical examples of constructability as stated in Skill and Knowledge 6th edition would be when analyzing the options of structure systems in the project, when analyzing the options of a structure frame, for example, in the project to be built either by steel frames or precast concrete structure frames. Also, constructability would be when analyzing the options between site fabrication and prefabrication outside and then delivery to the site. Also, constructability would be when analyzing the options of using bricks or block in a particular size instead of the other sizes. So constructability analysis is conducted to reach the result of whether the design is applicable to be translated to a project, whether the design can be executed in origin. This is the first step or the first use of constructability or first use of constructability analysis. Then constructability analysis is conducted again to reach the result of the best engineering method to be followed when installing an item in the project. And this will be by using technology, if technology is available, if technology can help or can minimize cost or time. Coming now to value engineering, as stated there in Skill and Knowledge 6th edition, value engineering is best defined as an organized, systematic approach that delineates the essential functions required by the user of the project, product, or service while establishing appropriate function cost based on a life cycle analysis. Value engineering should begin during design and focuses on maximizing value and can be expressed as the sum of design item functionality and quality per unit cost. Value engineering involves thinking out of the box to simplify and improve work activities to maximize the value of the work activities. This optimization or value engineering effort usually occurs before or during the design phase. So, constructability analysis is not the same as value engineering. Here in value engineering, as we mentioned, the optimization or value engineering effort itself usually occurs before or during the design phase. Constructability analysis usually occurs after the design. And as we mentioned, one of the key tools here in constructability analysis is building information modeling, or BIM. Constructability analysis or constructability also sometimes can involve changes to the design details to optimize the physical performance of the work. These changes for sure also will result in saving in the project time and project cost. Now I think the vision has become a little bit clear. Now we know the constructability analysis, we know the definition of constructability. We also know the difference between constructability analysis, construction pre-planning, value engineering as well. Now let's get back to constructability methods as input here in this section, in planning, development, input, and data. Here, the constructability analysis process occurs after the design is completed in order to get the most effective way or most effective construction method. It occurs after the design is completed to get an effective construction method that will be used in the execution of the project. So we carry out the constructability analysis in order to get the result of the construction method that will be used in the project or that will be used in the execution of the project. So here in planning input and data, in planning development process, we take the result of the constructability analysis, which is the construction method or construction methods that will be used in the project or in the execution of the project. We take it as input to the planning development process. So the result of the constructability analysis represents the constructability method or constructability methods. If we have like more than one constructability method in the project, constructability method represents an input here in the planning development process. Input in the planning development process means we will use the selected constructability methods in the project execution. We will plan the selected constructability methods in order to execute the project. The selected constructability method will act like the base of the execution process or the base for the implementation process in the project. All right, to summarize or to recap this, we can say in the planning stage, in the initial planning effort, we carry out constructability analysis. Then we get the result, get the constructability method. Then we plan the selected constructability methods in order to execute the project. And as we mentioned, the result of the constructability analysis represents constructability method, which is the third input in the planning development process or in planning development stage. Before we go to the last slide we have today, I would like to say that this chapter is a very simple one. All we need to know here is to understand the concepts of constructability, manufacturability, construction pre-planning, value engineering, and constructability analysis as well. This chapter also highlights the importance of using technology like BIM, building information modeling, in construction and planning. As usual, the last one is a discussion, today's discussion, in accordance with our topic today, constructability methods, and from your understanding, true or false, during a constructability analysis, the availability of specified materials is determined. As usual, you may answer the question in the comments box.